very excited for our players, our coaches, and our fan base to take place of a part like tonight. You know, to have two ranked teams playing on a Friday night, national TV, to play out like that. Just a lot of credit to Nebraska. Matt's obviously done a really good job to build this environment. You don't come to 400 straight sellouts by chance, right? So there's a lot of people that made tonight happen before this, but told our players the other day, you control the volume in the stadium. I said, they're selling their 400. We had our first since I've been here the other day. I said, hey, some people build bridges, others walk across them, right? So we're in the building bridge process. We just, I can't say enough about these guys, the attitude they work with, the perseverance, the humility, the gratitude. All they've done is made this next week even bigger. We'll take ourselves back to Champaign, get a chance to kind of have a recovery day tomorrow. We can't touch our players. As coaches, we'll put this one to bed. I think Penn State plays at 2:30, and obviously a great opportunity for us to go out to State College, another great venue, another great opportunity. So I think we came out of it pretty healthy. Zakari came out, but he was clear to go back in there at the end. We just kind of felt good about Malik. He was doing a hell of a job. There's a couple other guys got banged up, went back in. I think Tanner Arkin's okay. He just kind of tweaked his back a little bit. Tremendous perseverance by our guys offensively, defensively, and some really good special teams plays. So excited for these guys to go forward with that. Open up for questions.
Coach, you got the running game rolling there in the fourth quarter, and then the big run by Caden in overtime. What do you think the difference was there?
Just production. Caden's a very strong physical back. I think we kind of wore him down. We did say we thought at times, they have some really good big players up front. We thought if we could wear them down like the fourth, fifth, sixth play in the first half, but then we thought the second half we gained an advantage. Just you could see them. They're a very, very physical group up front. They run a lot of movement. But we did think if we could turn this into a four-quarter game, that would play to our advantage. We didn't, I didn't script it to go to overtime, but I wasn't mad when it did.
What do you think Luke Altmaier's play through 4 games has shown or said about him?
It's probably the best is yet to come. I mean it. Like Luke's done a tremendous job. He's so aware. He's so intelligent. I sit in these meetings and I just see him speaking, saying, doing things that I've never seen him do. Right, and it's not amazing. I think our players kind of learned to accept it. Right, he's got composure. To be quite honest, there on that last drive, Barry Lundy's coach-to-player communication got knocked out, so he was calling that all from the sidelines. We went old school, and Luke just kind of took that moment and made the most of it. Just a really good credit to him and our offense in general, our offensive staff. Barry to call that play to Brandon Henderson, you're right. Like first, B-Hen is he's the epitome, I think, of what we are. He's like literally our sixth lineman that backs up like 5 positions. We throw him in a 94 number. He and I had a conversation 2 weeks ago about what his number was going to be, and it was 99, 94, or 44. I said, you just look like a 94. And then we repped that pass this week, and as a staff, we all kind of took a vote whether or not we thought it would get thrown and completed and caught, and we all voted yes, and I didn't know it was going to be a 4th down call to win the game, but or put ourselves in a position to win the game. So just a lot of credit to our offensive coaches and people of faith to make that happen.
Brett, your thought on the defense and how they played in the overtime period?
Well, I think, again, a good credit to Aaron and the defense staff. I think at halftime we kind of talked about let's pressure this guy, right? Like he was, he's sitting back there all day patting the ball. We wanted to heat him up a little bit in that second half, make him adjust. I think, for us, defensively, we get better as the game goes on, and this was another good example. Thought in the back end, that corner, we rolled some guys through. I think T. Strain came in, we moved Xavier out, but we also had Xavier in and playing other corners out. I thought up front, to dial up the pressure at the end, and then an incredible call by Aaron at the end to bring Dylan through the A-gap, which made that play a no play whatsoever. So really good work by our defensive staff and tremendous faith in our players.
You've had some really good wins, obviously, at the line, but where does this one kind of stand for you?
It's the next one on the docket, right? Like I think our guys have done a really good job of just taking everything in. I'm not going to downplay it. You beat Nebraska at Nebraska in a ranked game, and nobody else thought. I think all you guys picked against us, right? So I think that's just. I think our guys love that, right? Like I think the ability to overcome and persevere, but more than anything, like they're so coachable. Again, we knew this was going to be a hot night game. I think Melvin had a couple of cramps, but other than that, our guys handled it pretty well. A tremendous thing. I think our guys, just overall, like we kind of have talked about, and I know sometimes even in the media that you guys have asked about last year, and they kind of just drop it, right? It's not, they just have moved past and moved on to the future. And obviously tomorrow, we can't touch them by NCAA rules, but my guess is I'll probably have a large number of guys through the building tomorrow, soft tissue recovery, get themselves right, watch this game. We'll put it to bed on Sunday and flip the script to Penn State pretty quick.
But what's the key to stacking these? Like 2 years ago, you were able to stack.
Yeah.
Like, what's the key to being able
Well, we got to stay healthy, which I think we did that, right? But also when guys pop in, I thought Malik Elsie today, right, comes in and just played awesome. Here's a guy that, you know, a highly recruited player that came in last year, did some things, but this year he's just been awesome. But obviously Zakari's done some things, and Malik just kept persevering. And there is nobody at practice that cheers harder than Malik Elsie, right? And his moment didn't come until today in the fourth quarter against a ranked opponent against Nebraska, and look what he did, right? Like just another great story. There's so many of them. I tell our guys all the time, for me as a head coach, the gratitude that just to be in this moment with them is absolutely all. I've been doing this a long time, but I can't say as I've ever enjoyed as much working with these guys on the highs and the lows of the lows. It's just a lot of fun.
Right,
After your interview on TV on the game, that we kind of made a beeline for Aaron. Just what did you get? Was that
Well,
more
it's just I thought, you know, the way he dialed up pressure in the second half and kept sawing wood. Like we talked quite a bit during the week. A lot of times just he and I, right? Like I'm trying to let him grow that, but we talked about. I knew they were going to try to run the ball. I thought they were going to try to do that. I know they're high on their quarterback, but you know that's the only thing I was. And we kind of did some nice adjustments second half, and we wanted to bring up some pressure and to dial up that last one. I said, hey, let's make him, you know, throw the ball, right? When he was having back there, he's patting the ball, and it kind of started flinching a little bit when I saw him put the ball on the ground a couple of times and took him out of his rhythm. And as a coordinator, to recognize that in a minute, that's a really big deal.
Right, I know it was a back and forth game, but was it important to get that first stop and then go up 7-0 like that in this atmosphere?
I think anything today, like you're playing a good team, so you know you want to ride the highs, and when you're in one of those lows, you got to get out of it. That's why kind of at the end of half, I'm like, hey, let's just go in. We're getting the ball in the second half. You know, they had a nice big hit. There was two really big hits. They hit a cover two hit, and then they hit a little Y, you know, over route. Ryan fell down. There was the one in the end zone that I challenged. I really thought he stepped out of bounds, but obviously he didn't. So we gave him two. In my opinion, we gave him two scores that were just lack of fundamental things. There was a play Miles just barely missed in the first half that I think if he's in that same position, he makes 10 out of 10. But obviously our guys persevered.
Coach, what was your first impression of playing Dylan Raiola for the first time?
Well, first, you know, going into it, you know, I've known his uncle forever. When I was at Wisconsin. I read about him in all the press clippings. He's obviously a very talented player. You know, going into this game, you can see he can throw the ball around a little bit. I thought they've done a really good job of game planning and making him be successful. But I think our guys during the course of the game really began to understand what pressure would do to him. And you know, unfortunately, we're probably going to see him several other times. You know, I think Nebraska will go on and win a lot of games. And I just think this is a really good football team offensively. They got a good defense. They're very opportunistic. They got a good kicking game. They got an excellent coaching staff. So I'll give a lot of credit to them.
You mentioned the pre-snap penalties last week. It may be an issue. I mean, just 3 penalties tonight. How do you feel like you guys handle?
Well, that wouldn't happen with 3 penalties, but I thought we preached on it all week. My freaking ears were blaring like we blasted those guys pretty hard on our 2 biggest work days in the stadium. We knew it was going to be loud today. We did some things. You know, this is a very intelligent crowd, right? So I first played these guys when I was a young assistant at Iowa. I came over here when I was at Kansas State and knew this environment, and we obviously came here 2 years ago. So they're very intelligent fans. They know when to be loud, third downs, red area, backed up, and I knew that was going to play out, and it did today. But our guys really took into everything we're buying during the course of the week, and obviously took advantage of it today.
Brett, you get the national spotlight when you win games
Yeah.
like this. How do you take advantage of that as a program, but also handle that as a
Well, it's 10:50, so limited calls tonight. But tomorrow we'll come in and work as a staff, and then I'll probably let the guys go somewhere around the start of the Penn State game, and then I think that'll be very active on our top recruits, top priorities. We started to gather a lot of attention a couple weeks ago, but really for us, it's kind of works out. We knew that the schedule laid out 5 weeks bye week, 4 weeks bye week 3. We have 6 rematch games. 2 of them are behind us, right? And we're able to gather the first 2. So everything's kind of positive, but you know, to go play at Penn State, you know, whatever this game gets slotted into, it's going to be a tremendous challenge. They're a very good football team, and to get this opportunity is just awesome.
Last question.
Coach, follow up on that from a minute ago.
Yeah.
What do you think allowed them to pass so well in the first half? And then was it simply just the pressure that changed things in the second?
No, first off, they're very good. I think the quarterback's a good player. The wide receivers are good players. They were opportunistic. There were some zone things that they were settling in behind their linebackers, so we kind of dumped them right over the top. You can literally see this quarterback get better every play, right? Like if you're a Nebraska fan, you know, obviously the bad news is you lost tonight, but the good news is you got a quarterback who literally probably gets better every practice, and from everything I've been told about him, his demeanor, his work ethic. I know just listening to Matt talk about him, usually a head coach doesn't go over the top the way he does, right? So like if he's saying that must mean he believes in him, putting their whole program behind him. Obviously, I know what went into getting him here, right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, so there's some things that they're hopefully going to pay dividends for him in the future.
Thank you, guys.